All right, we're back with Short Takes. This is episode 2 of our 3rd season. It's been a minute. Look who's with me.
Oh, hey.
Tuscaloosa's favorite. Bo Hicks.
The 9:30 mayor now instead of the midnight mayor. I mean,
is there such a thing?
No. Well,
they run in shifts.
Yeah. Well, you got to. There's your daytime, your brackish area mayor, and then there's Sweet Dog. And what can you do?
Have you seen Sweet Dog lately?
He's finally getting around to going on his honeymoon somewhere overseas, and just imagining other cultures experiencing Sweet Dog for the first time gives me joy and fear about what they must expect from America, especially based on everything that is going on in America right now. And then you just meet this. What was the Hunter S. Thompson? Too strange to live, too weird to die.
Yeah.
Which I think describes Sweet Dog perfectly. So he's still squeezing shoulders and being all rigid and upright and telling me, oh, listen to these drums. You know who that is?
Yeah. Send him my regards. I don't talk to him nearly enough. And it's a perfect segue, because if anyone's connected as much as Sweet Dog, it's Bo Hicks. You know everyone. Everyone knows Bo Hicks, and no one says a bad thing about you.
I keep the bad stuff really well hidden. It's a blessing and a curse in a certain way, because I feel, because I am so forward facing in both music and the brewery and trying to bring more art to our community, like that I cannot have a bad day. Like everybody expects the colloquialisms of keep it between the mayonnaise and the mustard,
Love it.
all those kind of things. But also I'm really ingratiated, and it'll get to, I think one of the questions later of how I feel about that kind of duality and how it is a blessing and a curse, or to put it in the Dexteen's parlance, lost and found.
But you're naturally lovable, aren't you?
I would like to think so. I mean, I strive to, life's too short, I think, to be too serious. So I strive to try to bring just a little bit of joy where I can. And, life's tough. Things are changing. Things are different. And so I think taking moments to appreciate, a little silly humor, our little togetherness is important today, especially where we're from and where we call home, because there's so much of that. But I think oftentimes it gets overshadowed by a lot of rabble-rousing and a lot of negative takes, So
that's what we're here for too, man.
And yeah, I know. It's one of
our
the reasons
ethos is the same.
Yeah, man. We're simpatico.
There you go.
Things. $5 words.
You run a proprietor, own Druid City Brewery. Anything you want to announce coming up in July, late June, July?
So we've got some good shows coming up. We have Haysop, which is Jameson Hubbard. He had an outfit called Squat. They're sort of taking a break right now. They're playing with a band on tour from Winston-Salem called the Killer Ants. So that's going to be a fun night of rock and roll. We just recently had Wanda's birthday here. As she said, she's entering her flirty 30s. And it was an amazing night. We sold out the Moon Room.
That's amazing.
See the crowd that she brings. I mean, her songwriting, it's so vulnerable and from such a place. I think it gives the audience permission to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that night was just an amazing group of people that we're here to settle out. But that's in the past. That doesn't help us. But we're always looking at doing some shows. We've really embraced doing hardcore shows, which is not necessarily my cup of tea, but that community needs a place. There's no place in Tuscaloosa that'll host it, and they're really nice people cosplaying as mean, scary people.
Yeah.
Like they could be.
Yeah, they're lovable too.
Yeah, man. You just got to look past the veneer on a lot of these subgroups and just people in general. You never know. Like, you've always got to give people a chance, in my opinion. So those have been a lot of fun. We're working on maybe, this is the announcement here first. We don't know if we could pull it off, but we're looking at sort of doing a get up for Kentuck, sort of in the way that grants are harder to come by for the arts
Yeah, they
these
are.
days. You've sort of got to point that in on the community to get them to support. So we're looking at trying to do a big rock and roll show, take over the whole parking lot, but more on that to come. There's a lot of moving parts in that one. So we're just keeping our nose to the grindstone, doing fun, weird lunches, which is me and my number one, Tyler Marshall. Tyler, I couldn't do near the stuff without having him here. So yeah, we've always got something weird and fun going on. We check all the socials and whatnot.
Yeah, I encourage if anyone who's watching this or listening to this, if you don't follow Druid City Brewery, do it now and keep up with them because they may be the best place to hang out in Tuscaloosa, in my opinion.
We've been very conscientious of growing our food menu, having options for people that don't eat meat, but we've had a really good return on our NA options. We have NA cocktails, NA beers, things that people can have, kombuchas on tap, things like that, so people don't feel like, I'm going to miss that. I'm just going to stand around and drink a Sprite. We want to give people ways to support us that want to come see shows, that want to be a part of that. And, it doesn't have to be just about boozing. We strive to make it about community and a meeting place and an exchange of ideas and for people to rally to try to do good in the world.
Yeah, I love it. And good for you, man. One of my ultimate goals, I'm talking 2-3 years, would be to pair with you and have an Alabama Take event.
I love that idea.
I love
me and
that
Tyler would love that too. The first Chucker thing where we had the acts inside and outside, but have songwriters inside, and then the Williamson brothers, and then songwriter, and then like Taylor Hollingsworth. Really highlight some of the great musicians that we have here and around. They're a little spread out. I've noticed something that's been really weird. As I was just talking about Haysop. They're one of the few bands in Tuscaloosa right now that are playing. It's always peaks and troughs, but it seems like music, and it could be that I'm just old and out of touch, but I don't even hear of other bands, playing out too much anymore. So
yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. I think people go out less. I think the generation that would have replaced a more party hardy group when they came up, it was during lockdown. They got way better about communicating insularly through their devices and keeping up where people are. I think music tastes have changed. I mean, we're due for an upswing for sure, but it is, so weird. But I mean, we still have a lot of great talent. And so I think bringing that together under one banner would be, something that would be cool. So we are down to clown. We have the equipment. We have the Moxie. We are, ready to
literally
serve. Yes, literally. Old Moxie Oswald St. Clair.
But you're not opposed to like having a DJ set even in the Moon Room.
No, man, I'll try a dance party, like anything that brings people together. I mean, once again, hardcore is not my scene, but it's these people saying it brings people together. Man, we had one. The UA Goth Club did not know this was a thing. They had a goth prom, and so it was just so many people in just black and pale makeup, and an experimental black and white German film on like Bauhaus played in the Moon Room. It was fascinating anthropologically, but
I would love that.
Man, it was
to see.
It was yeah, and everybody was really nice. I mean, they looked all dour and sad, but it's part of.
They're not.
They're not. They're all together. So glad we got to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's just an example of what's going on at Druid City Brewery and what Bo does for the community. I give Adam and Donovan first shot at questions. Yeah, and this is not on the docket here, but I'm tossing you a softball, though. Okay. When Twitter, it's from Adam. When Twitter worked as it should, you oft logged in at an ungodly hour and named your hangover, and thousands of people would relish this. What was your favorite hangover name?
I believe it would be Dumpster Fire, a senseless crime of bravado, followed closely by Luther. I think
just
both
Luther.
of those. Yeah. Just it didn't need an explanation, but dumpster fire, a senseless climb of bravado because that's exactly what led me to that couch in Homewood after a beer fest. I've had
The
to
party
get,
detective.
oh God, that's so much fun. I miss the halcyon days of Twitter before it was a hellscape, and I made a lot of friends through that. A lot of like-minded people. Also, as my Chrome package, my beard is getting more white. I'm really tapped the brakes on the old partying. It slows me down. Turns out it's not good for you to drink that much. So I'm really
Did
more
science
restrained.
come out with this recently?
I think it was a recent development,
Oh.
according to my blood pressure reading. So I'm a little more chill these days, a little more medicated. Those were a lot of fun, and it was just a fun way to interact with people and to write. I viewed it sort of like writing the world's tiniest short stories. Like what was the saddest short story ever written? For sale baby shoes,
That's
never
right.
worn.
Never worn.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you could do something in that vein in a more comedy way, like naming a hangover, like pretty much encapsulate everything, and even down to a single word like Luther.
That's so good.
Yeah. So
Well, let's get into our 4 questions, the heart of the show. For those joining us, you probably know we get 4 questions. The 4th one's always the same for every guest, but we try to get questions that are different, maybe philosophical. Your first question was what's something you take for granted, but you just wish you didn't?
I vacillated on this when I was walking in the rain this morning back and forth in front of the Family Dollar like a husky special needs human with blue glasses. And I think really it is, sometimes it's the community. I'll get a little downtrodden about, we're trying to do all this, and is it supported enough? Because it's like juggling chainsaws, everything with the way that we had to open the facility, signing the lease before COVID, getting kind of behind, catching back up. But then every time I'm a little bit downtrodden, we'll have an amazing night that the community and the people in Tuscaloosa come for. So every now and then I take them for granted. I'm like, why aren't we busier now? But the Get Up 3 that we had back in December, seeing that many people come together to really rally and help keep the brewery afloat and to continue to do the things. And so I'm going to say community, final answer.
That's a good answer too. Tuscaloosa's community has come and gone. It's a college town, but people like you keep it going, and kudos. It takes work.
I mean, it does. I mean, it's one of my things. One of the reasons to open the brewery was to have a tip pole on community, because yes, there's so many creative people come and then leave, and retention of creative, artistic, interesting people could sometimes be a challenge, because if there's nothing here to keep them here, yes, they're going to seek their fortunes other places. To condense it down, I hope a place like the brewery or any of the other cool places around that have sprung up, that'll help retain some of the community, and Tuscaloosa is frankly not for everybody. Like it is missing some creature comforts, and as much as I love it, it's not exactly where I want it now. But I hope through doing a little part, if Audrey, my daughter, decides to stay, that it'll be cooler. And, doing those incremental wins, I think you can't always bite off everything in one bite. You've got to start at the end of the hot dog, never the middle, and then just go from there. So that's my little 2 cents.
This is tangential, but with all the media and news about the University of Alabama, have you noticed Tuscaloosa go way more conservative than it used to be?
I think those voices are amplified. I mean, I think Tuscaloosa, I know the city historically is more liberal. I think some of the events recently, there was a little kowtowing to pressures of funding and things like that. And I try not to, I think people probably can assume correctly about my stances on politics, but I try not to make grandiose statements because it just creates a headache. But I think those voices they get sought out and they're the squeakiest wheel. And so they get oiled by the mechanism of media a little more frequently. I know our leadership in the city. I'm lucky enough to know most of them well. Mayor Maddox is a big supporter of everything we've done here. It's still a pretty welcoming bunch. I think those voices, the harder line conservative ones, like to yell more and to like sometimes not think before they yell. But, sometimes that makes for, it's tough in the news world right now too. It's same with promoting a show. How do I get in front of these eyes? Like it's almost a deluge of too much information. And so sometimes I think those voices rise to the top because they're yelling the loudest and being more hostile.
Or the craziest. Yeah.
Yes. Nuttier than a squirrel turd.
Well, let's get into our second question. You've worn a lot of hats over the course of many jobs in and around Tuscaloosa. What's the strangest thing you've seen in any one?
I mean, there's so many that for, a family-based podcast like
are we?
Well, with my daughter in the room too.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay.
There's a lot that have been just bizarro, weird things. Naked people at bars. That seems kind of tame.
That's happened?
Yes.
Let me guess. Egan's?
Wow. Yes.
Wait, was it me?
No. Never you. Yeah. Some little victories, right? There's been, I was really struggling with this one of what to say. Definitely, I've had a knife pulled on me at, once again, Egan's, but he got thrown out by a construction worker, and the construction worker's like, y'all watch this, and the door closed, and then he counted to 3 and kicked the door and knocked the guy back down, and he just wandered off into the distance. But a funner, more recent one. Here at the brewery, our friend Bob Baker rented one of those 3-wheel motorcycle cars called a Slingshot, and he had it for 24 hours. And so he brought it to the brewery, and we were just joyriding. I was like, I've got this idea. What if on the radio we just play the loudest, most sad bastard music we can think of, like American football on every red light, like we high five, because when you see those things, it's always like party music bumping out. And I was like, I think it would just be a funny goof to have really emo, sad stuff playing. Like I'm talking like Jason Isbell elephant level sad stuff.
Ooh.
Casimir Pulaski Day by Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah.
Yeah, some real go-getters in the sad bastard music. And so we did that. The scooter pooted around town, and I thought that was pretty fun. But I've seen some strange things, and some of them will go to glory with me.
Okay. That's fair. Question 3. If money was no object, give me something you would do, maybe personally, just for you.
Just for me, okay.
I might have thrown your answer off there.
No, not really. I mean, I think it might tie into something that's done up real good for me too. I'd really love to go see some of Europe, Scotland specifically. I'm really into a band called Frightened Rabbit that was from there. I would love to go see that. And back home, I would love to utilize the Bama Theater more, because that Get Up 3 concert, having original music in that place, it's not just there for dance recitals and things like that. And I know they have to do that to pay the bills. I would really love to be able to like, all right, we're putting on this show, and it doesn't have to be a success. Like everything's not riding on this, but we can support artists more. I would love to, pay my staff a whole lot more. They are personally invested in both of our ethos that we talked about earlier. They're personally invested in that, and they're always here for me whenever I get a little snarfy, as I want to say. So travel, maybe see New Zealand. That would be cool, but definitely pay a living wage to up and coming acts. I mean, the big acts are, well, even they're struggling a little bit, but
yeah,
I would like to champion music here in Tuscaloosa more. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The last question, same for everyone. Some people won't need this explained, but it's just what's done up real good for you
Well, I've got a couple of things as far as TV goes. I've really been enjoying this show called, I think it Department Q.
Oh
Q
yeah,
Department. It's on Netflix. It kind of tickles me in the way that Slow Horses did. It's kind of
excellent.
I really am enjoying that.
If I may interrupt, Adam and Donovan and I messaged each other about Department Q last night, so we
Nice.
may cover
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'll tune back in. Also, Audible has discovered my book kink, and it's both either Scottish or Welsh mystery novels. I know the hierarchy of the United Kingdom's police departments, from DCIs all the way down through all that. I don't know. I've listened to a couple of them. Really got into this one narrator, and now it recommends them for me. So every day on my walk, I'm listening. So I think that's sort of another reason why I want to go to Scotland.
Yeah.
I love the accent, but I'm just so caught up in they're your standard thriller mystery books, but they really hold my attention while I'm waddling around Tuscaloosa for 2 hours every day. What else? Let's done right now. Mario Kart World Tour. I was lucky enough to receive a Switch 2 from my wife Becky, who I was like, "No way, that's too much." She told me it was fine, that I deserved it, and I might have cried a little bit because I am not too secretly a big soft boy.
Yeah. Well, hello to Becky as well, by the
I
way.
will
Haven't seen
send the
her forever.
regards. She called me a moment ago. I hope nothing is on fire. So we'll find that out in a minute. But also, you know,
The text thread?
ju- oh, yes. I have a text thread with some dear friends of the program, C.R. Johnson, author, Pat Barfield, Ecolab rep, but also a good dude, and his brother, Nate Barfield, who is a chef in New Orleans. I call it Garden and Pun, since we just joke at each other back and forth. That has brought me great joy. I've been doing a multitude of very silly Photoshops, and I always do them on the fly. We've developed an alter ego for Pat called Rick Barfield, and then we'll just develop backline, like just tell the 1 or 2 sentence description of the movie. And y'all remember when Rick Barfield do this? And then, I have the same 2 pictures of him with a really dumb Don Mattingly mustache. And so I'll just Photoshop him on whatever. Me and CR on a water slide where I'm the kid and he's the dad. Just a lot of fun things like that. So it brings great joy. So having a group of dudes like that I can bounce things off of has been done up real good for me as well.
It is done up real good. Rat-a-tat Pat. I haven't seen him in forever either. What we're going to do is we're going to put everything linkable in show notes. You can follow Druid City Brewery that way. Click on them, follow them. You'll know what's up. Much love to Mr. Bo Hicks. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Man, it's good to talk to you too, and especially with you looking so sharp.
I saved my 3-piece for you now, Bo.
The vest is what really makes it super formal. So I appreciate you saving that for me, and I love everything that you're doing. I know it's sometimes in both of our endeavors, it can seem thankless, but I think it's important what y'all document and the voices y'all bring out, and it won't be thankless forever. I really appreciate what y'all do, so thank you.
Well, thank you as well for having a community there in Tuscaloosa that I know I can always go back to.
We'll leave the light on for you.
That's it. Thanks, Bo.
No problem, brother.
Will went walking and was blown away. Found his finger by my mama's grave.